Hi, this is PubShorts episode 19. Enjoy the AI. My name is Dr. KK. I'm the innovation officer at Trinka and Enago. And I have with me Tony O'Rourke. Tony, hi.
Hello, KK. I was just thinking we need a theme tune.
We need to write something, I suppose. I mean,
Maybe
are you
Spider-Man theme tune or something.
maybe not. Maybe we can
That'd be
work on our own original
indeed,
intro theme
indeed.
or something like
That would be truly awful. Good.
that. Okay, Tony, introduce yourself and what Inago is, Trinka
Yeah,
is, and what
sure.
PubShorts is. Yeah.
So I'm Tony O'Rourke. I'm VP for partnerships here at Enago. And PubShots is a regular podcast where KK and I discuss hot topics in the world of scholarly communications and AI research in scholarly research.
Yes, and Tony stumbled because we intended to be weekly, but there is so much news from publishing and AI that we've had to do it. I mean, multiple occasions in a particular week. For example, this week we might actually have 3 episodes. So,
Yes,
without
keep watching over Christmas because we're not going to stop.
well, we might actually. We might figure out a way to transport Tony from his Christmas holidays and bring him to life on Pub Shots. But
Now you're breaking the fourth wall. You don't give away secrets.
okay, Tony. I'm going to go and start with our first story, which is this. Obviously, the episode is themed "Enjoy the AI" because we have been given gifts from all the major AI providers. But we'll talk about this about those stories in the end in our quick hit section. But let me start with the first deep story. So this is an article written by Ethan Mollick, an AI. I would say a major figure in the field of AI, and this article is titled 15 times to use AI and 5 not to. 5 instances where you should not use. So Ethan emphasizes the importance of understanding AI's strengths and weaknesses and suggests using AI when quantity, translation, or summarizing is the key. And so there are a lot of use cases, for example, overcoming blocks, and if you know that AI is very good at it, or contextual assistance, etc. But what I want to talk about, Tony, is that he wants against AI use when learning new ideas or needing high accuracy, and he stresses on the evolving nature of AI capability. So that is one sort of okay thing, but for learning I would recommend that one uses AI. Where do you stand on this?
No, I think he's right to advise caution. We're still in so I'm just adjusting my camera. We're still in a development stage. There are things that AI has proved, and he lists all of them there. I still think with some of those things he lists, there should be, a certain amount of human intervention. But I think we're still at an early stage, and some of the things he advises caution with will only get better.
Right. So my suggestion would be, I mean, I partially disagree with the learning thing is because AI can be the sort of gateway into learning something more complex. If we don't have to rely on it completely, you can use it as an assistant for any learning purposes. That's the way I would recommend it. So that is the thing that I want to bring about. Anyway, I think you are also pretty much on the same line.
Yeah,
You cannot.
pretty much. Yeah, as I
Yeah.
say, advise caution, human intervention, care, particularly in some of the more
Right.
uh, sensitive research areas.
Right. Okay. So the next topic article that we have is an essay published in the Historical Studies in the Natural Sciences. It's a journal, and it's titled "Scholars Are Failing the GPT Review Process." So this is an interesting article because it mentions that some scholars are using GPTs or generative pre-trained transformers or AI for plagiarism checking and assigning students to use them and training students to be prompt engineers. Now the problem with that is that there could be a lot of false positives, especially if you using AI to detect, let's say, plagiarized content. If you are a neurodivergent person or if you're not a native language speaker, it might throw a lot of false positives at you. So I'm concerned with this, the fact that people are, as in researchers, are being asked to be prompt engineers. I understand the challenge, but where do you stand on this, Tony? I mean, are you comfortable with this overall?
Again, I think it's one of these things where for every new doctoral student, they're going to have to learn how to do this. It's going to become part. It's going to become as regular a tool as a typewriter used to be in the 1980s, or a calculator is in the 1990s, or a laptop is today. Yeah, I just think it's another tool that a researcher has to learn. And I also think prompt engineering is going to be a nomination for the word of the year in 2025.
I think it's already gone. It should have been a
Oh,
word.
right.
Well, anyway, so next we have three sort of related stories. Tony, we've already talked about it. This is regarding the Indian government policy, one nation, one subscription. I'll start with the science article. So obviously we've talked about it. India has agreed to have this one subscription plan, which would be different from the previous library-based subscription access. So about 13,000 journals are under this purview, and the government is promising to spend about 715 million US dollars over 3 years, and the deal surpasses similar ones in Germany and the UK. And there are journals like or publishers like Elsevier, Springer Nature, and Wiley in there. Now the critics say that the deal is expensive and does not embrace full open access, and there is a call for India to adopt more sustainable publishing models. I want to ask you, I think I've asked you already, this seems to be a move away from open S. So do you think, after reading this article, are you swayed? Okay.
Oh, listen, I mean, open access is a spectrum. I think
Uh-huh.
the real purists, I won't use the word zealots, but the real advocates want to dispense with the subscription model completely.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is it's a model that's been in existence for the last hundreds of years, certainly 100 years plus. And what these read and publish deals do is delivers kind of the best of both worlds,
Mm-hmm.
in that it provides access for more than the existing licensing institutions, but it also means that publishers can be sustainable and can continue to deliver the kind of service that they've been delivering up till now. So I think it does deliver on some of those open access challenges, because it makes those journals available for any researcher in India,
Mm-hmm.
and not just to read, but also to publish in, without having to worry about how much it's going to cost.
Right.
And the big thing for me about all this, having worked in academic publishing for a long time now, and having been involved in some of these early deals in countries like India, for example, is the kind of the huge benefit now for those hundreds and if not thousands of institutions who historically weren't part of those deals before. So I think this is a really, really important deal.
Right. So there are the criticisms coming up. So one article that I found is from the LSE London School of Economics. The article is titled "India's One Nation, One Subscription Deal Enriches Publishers and Benefits Few." So I'll quickly read out the criticism. So originally the estimated costs were approximately 1,500 crore Indian rupees, but the costs are likely to be higher, much higher, and it only caters to approximately 30 journal publishers. And which means what happens to the rest of the publishers. And the last point of criticism is that other countries have moved away from similar big deals. So considering this, I mean, does this article have some points that so that sort of, I guess, are counterpoints to what you think this deal entails?
I take the perspective is that you have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I was interested, I think I commented on this earlier on, I was interested to see some of the societies some of the publishers that weren't in that original list. Right. And there's some of the big scientific societies that, many of these researchers will have to publish with, because they have the important journals in those fields. So I'm wondering whether there's another deal being discussed,
right,
that will allow those second or third tranche of publishers to participate. But, it's 30 publishers, but it's 30 publishers who probably contribute towards half the global literature. Right. So it's a big deal.
Interesting. And you already brought up a point which is mentioned in the third article related to this. This is a Scholarly Kitchen article co-written by Rick Anderson and Lisa Hinch. So it's titled Chatting at the Kitchen Table about India's ONOS deal. So again, I'm only going to read the key points. So they see, or some critics see, that a setback for open access, but the good point that they mention is that some of the funds are being channeled to open access, and so that is a portion of the funds is being challenged. And so it also advocates for the need for diverse options for access. So from that point,
that's what I'm saying, KK. It's not a simple subscription deal. It's not sort of here's some content, access the content, read the content. It's a read and publish deal. Right. So it allows authors in otherwise, poor institutions to be able to not just access the content, but able to submit their research content without having to worry about the costs. I mean, that's why these read and publish deals are, I think, that's why they're called transformative, because they change the way content is being licensed.
Yeah, transformative deals for the future. And talking about
Now.
right, talking about transformation, the Knowledge Gate Group has won the 5th annual Vesalius Innovation Award by Karger Publishers. So this was announced at the STM Innovator Fair, I think, a few weeks ago. So the cool news is that this automation provides offers manual research processes, enabling strategic decision making and streamlining collaboration between organizations and life sciences experts. So it is sort of limited to that. It helps find life sciences experts for collaborative purposes. My question to you, Tony, it is a narrow spectrum innovation. Should such tools be there for other fields as well?
Yes. I mean, the fact is, academic publishing isn't the only field where collaborations exist. So I think there must be other opportunities in other spaces where this can benefit.
Yeah, I think experts are sought after, I guess, in every field, and I think such tools should also be there in other fields. That's the way that I'm thinking, and I would like it to be beyond just life sciences. But then we'll have to see when that comes. So, Tony, sorry, I cut you off.
What no, so I agree.
Yeah, right. So we have a bunch of quick hits. It's actually more than just. I mean, it'll probably be longer than the main section. But anyway, we start off with 3 announcements, Tony. OpenAI has announced the introduction of what? ChatGPT Pro. So first question, do you have a ChatGPT Plus account? Okay,
I have a ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT, but I don't use ChatGPT Plus yet.
Okay. So this. Yes, I do. I mean, one has to keep up, at least from my point of view. I want to keep up with the latest, so I have to explore what. So I've been having a ChatGPT Plus account for a few. I'm even using the API for some personal research use cases, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So this Pro account, it costs much higher. My ChatGPT Plus is about $24 per month. This is $200 per month, and it provides access to obviously more advanced models. It benefits researchers, engineers, and those needing research grade intelligence. So this is the reason why we are talking about it, because when ChatGPT, or rather OpenAI, released O1 model, it was well received in the research community because they wanted a large language model which is less hallucinatory. So from that point of view, it is a wonderful news. And ChatGPT also Pro has offers of grants that support medical researcher, with 10 initial grants being awarded to the US future plans, including expanding Pro grants and adding more features. So ChatGPT is contributing back to the research. At least they're doing something. Are you now curious enough to consider having at least a ChatGPT Plus account, Tony?
Ask me next time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You know, I appreciate how it's being used, but I really leave the benefits and the technical nature of this to experts like you, KK.
Right. And so it basically, the pro model will offer higher quality in just about every aspect. That's what they're promising. But OpenAI did not stop with that. It's called, I think, 12 days of OpenAI or something like that. And they announced Sora to everyone. Sora is their video generative model. And so what I have to say, Tony, about this is that it is it is a technology that helps to improve creativity, and it helps Pro subscribers, as far as I understand, 1080p videos of 20 seconds long. Now, it is sort of bundled with Plus and Pro accounts and everything, but it has limitations. And the problem is that it does not quite understand physics. And sometimes you can...
It does.
And, you know... have you watched some of the videos that Sora has generated? Yeah. So it's crazy. It does things that you do not expect, but also you can start your video creative process with an image. So maybe, you know, we can use it to see how it does things. So have you considered creating videos?
I haven't. I'm sure I've seen more videos that have used this kind of technology without realizing that technology was being used.
Right. Okay. So the third AI big news story is that Llama 3.370B model, that is 70 billion token parameters, has just dropped. So why is it a big deal? So this is from Tom's Guide, which is a reputed source in technology. Now, this allows researchers to, I mean, this is a language model that you can locally install on your computer. You do not need big GPUs or big servers to use it, and it is available for a lot of like regular people like me. I can install this model on my laptop on which I'm speaking right now, and Tony, I've recently, okay, over the last couple of weeks, I've explored the power of local models, and I'm about to install this. Have you considered installing it? And what I just said, has it sort of changed your perspective?
I'd like to refer you back to the answer of the earlier question, KK. And I leave it to experts like you to tell me how it's being used, and then maybe one day, who
Right.
knows?
All right. So now there is wait, hold on. The next story we have is an editorial from Nature titled
Yeah,
"More Powerful AI is Coming." So let me just pick my notes. So what they are advocating for is a collaboration between academia and industry that is very crucial, and it's a Sam Altman sort of piece. And private sector leads AI funding, which is obvious. But what is interesting for me in this article is that I think Sam suggests that we should build something like a CERN for AI, ensuring that AI safety and utility are kept paramount. So a particle accelerator type of model, like a centralized research facility for AI. What are your thoughts on this, Tony?
oh, I think it's a very interesting idea. I think anything that was going to explore and investigate and develop the uses of AI and make it safer, make it more reliable on the scale of CERN, you
Mm-hmm.
know, is a fascinating concept. I mean, it, CERN costs billions of dollars to replicate, and if there's an industry that could get close to replicating it, it's the computer industry, together with national government. So yeah, it should
Yeah.
be considered.
Right. Talking about breakthroughs and high end technological advancement. This is interesting. This is a New York Times article. Basically, it's titled "Quantum Computing Inches Closer to Reality After Another Google Breakthrough." So what are we talking about? The This new model apparently can perform tasks that a traditional supercomputer would take 10 septillion
What
years.
is a septillion? I'm not sure if I've ever heard that number before.
Well, it is one followed by 24 zeros. And so 10,
24 zeros.
yes, it is 700 billion times the the age of the universe or something like that. That's another thing. So anyway, this number 10 septillion has 26 digits, out of which 25 of them are zeros. You cannot believe it. And in fact, some of the experts who are discussing this development are saying that we can compute so fast because we are borrowing computational resources from parallel universes. So this is what I mean. These are some crazy stories. But
Yeah.
anyway, my point is we are ever closer, getting ever closer to the concept of sorry, what is it? What am I? AGI, artificial
It's
general intelligence.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what are your stance? What is your stance on AGI? And do you think that this sort of qubit quantum computing is getting us close?
Well, let's take it one step at a time. I'm absolutely staggered that a processor has been developed that is this fast. That's incredible. Um, Still kind of thought quantum computing was
Mm-hmm.
in the field of theory rather than reality. But isn't this going to transform the
Yes.
way computing takes place? And that is it going to lead to better AI, more intelligent AI, more um, accurate AI? Well, if it does, then good. But again, there has to be an element of human oversight.
But humans are not possibly going to have the capability to have oversight. And remember,
No,
Tony, yeah, good and bad actors. So if this falls into the hands of bad actors, the entire banking system, currency, everything could collapse. I mean, that's a
everything.
challenge. Yeah, cyber
Absolutely.
security would
Yeah,
go.
I think. I mean, is that's the good and bad.
Yeah,
Technology is not doesn't always have a positive effect,
right, right.
but with human oversight and with good
Yeah,
controls,
yeah.
then I think this could lead to some major advancements, particularly in things like medical research, drug research.
Yep, yep, always there. And finally, the last story, which is I've kept it for the last story because it's, in my opinion, the most interesting one. So this is an article published in Scroll, but you can find about the product being discussed anywhere else. It is titled "Can AI Make You Love Reading the Classics?" A US publishing company is building an app, I think, Rebind. Rebind is the app. So I'll just explain what it is. Rebind AI is based on US publishers. So it allows readers to interact with AI versions of famous authors and commentators. And I'll actually switch to this screen. to show you what it does. So these are some of the commentators that you can choose to interact with your article. There are several books covered, and that section is coming up right here. So I'll stop here. Now, unlike other AI tools that simplify tasks, Rebind encourages deep engagement with the literature, and you can chat with it, and ask it very crazy questions and everything. And for reading James Joyce, maybe Ulysses, maybe I would like Rebind. Tony, what are your thoughts?
Someone could have helped me when I tried to read Ulysses 30 years ago. Before this recording, I asked my daughter about this concept. But would you? She reads a lot. She reads a lot more than I do. She's a psychologist, so she has to read a lot. Would this make her want to read more? It wouldn't necessarily make her want to read more, but it would make her want to engage with the content more closely. And she asked me what the website was and where she could find out more.
Yeah, I've already, as in cancelled subscription to book summary, like professional book summary applications before the advent of AI. It's not going to replace it, but it'll give you a quicker access to the content of the book. And so from that point of view, I love such developments, and I cannot wait to try this out. I'm expecting it to be too expensive for somebody from India to afford.
Absolutely. But I tell you the thing that excites me about this sort of concept is that, okay, at the moment you're not necessarily engaging with the author, but you're engaging with a highly educated, highly trained AI that tries to emulate the author. For me, this is interesting for books. Where it really gets interesting for me is how you might engage with composers who have passed on. How would you engage with Beethoven when he's writing his symphonies? What questions would you want to ask Beethoven? What questions would you want to ask Frank Zappa about the music he wrote in the 1960s and the political influences of somebody who died 30 years ago?
Right.
That for me is a really interesting.
Right. My question to you was the Pat Metheny, if you were to able to.
Pat Metheny, Frank Zappa, you name it. There's a couple of artists I'd love to ask those questions too.
Yeah. So I thought it might. So this is one way you can interact with it. You can use it as a simple chat, but you also have these immersive video introductions, so you can bookend your readings with chapters.
Yes, that part of thing, that kind of side of it isn't for me particularly novel. I mean, what it basically is, it's a glorified introduction, it's a glorified abstract in a sense. But what's interesting for me is in how the intention is to develop these tools in order to be able to engage more closely with the author's mind or the author's, and not necessarily having the author on screen, but having their author's knowledge and expertise and experience captured in some way to be able to ask those questions. I think that's a wonderful resource potentially.
I cannot wait. I would love to explore Rebind. I should check. I think it should be available on Android and iOS, but we'll see. But this brings us to the end of episode 19. We called it Enjoy the AI, which is a reference to the Depeche Mode song Enjoy the Silence, which is a favorite karaoke piece of mine. Would you believe it, Tony? I go to Goa and I sing Enjoy the Silence on karaoke.
I can imagine you singing Depeche Mode songs in karaoke.
Anyway, so that brings us to the end of our episode. So Tony, if somebody were to be interested in finding out what are your thoughts on, let's say, Frank Zappa, or on publications, or on research integrity, how can they find it?
You won't find my thoughts on Frank Zappa anyway, although I have written a couple of articles. You can contact me at tonyo@enago.com. You can find KK and I on LinkedIn. And you can find out more about what we're doing in AI over at trinker.ai. Please contact us if you've got any ideas for suggestions for topics for articles that we should be discussing.
Right. We are streaming live on LinkedIn and YouTube for this episode, but if you're finding us as a view on demand, and if you're finding us on the YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification icon and share the video with your friends. If suppose somebody is interested in Rebind AI, or if they're interested in quantum computing, if you like the content, please share it with your friends and family, and that would help us a lot.
Come back on Wednesday for the next episode.
Oh, you're giving us a teaser. So we will be streaming our next episode on Wednesday afternoon, India time, as far as I remember, but we'll see. So until the next episode, Tony, this is PubShorts episode 19, Enjoy the AI, and on behalf of everybody who supports us to bring you such content, and on behalf of Tony, this is Dr. KK signing off. Bye-bye. Bye, Tony.
Bye.